Hello everyone. Today we are thrilled to welcome Siddharth Deshmukh, better known as the traveling professor. Siddharth is globally recognized educator, marketing thought leader, whatnot, and also the author of not a marketing book, marketing ideas for this age. In fact, I just found this book in last week. I found like, is this really marketing book or not? That's where I found the interesting title itself, and also I just explored and also I published a very super quick review around in LinkedIn, my newsletter, and also he's known for his unique approach, blending disciplines like biology, economics, and sociology to create innovative strategies in marketing, CX, customer experience, and business growth. With experience, techniques and consulting across continents, it thus brings his fresh perspectives to each and every conversation. Not just thing like he's also a creator of popular podcast called Smarter with Sid, with over 300 episodes of engaging and out of the box insights. Whether it's tough, like he's also managing YouTube channel and other social media platforms like Instagram and other things also. He always continues to inspire marketers, students, and professionals alike. Let's dive into his journey and fascinating ideas he brought into his life. And also, please joining me welcoming Siddharth Deshmukh.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am really happy that you've given me so many accolades, but I think that they're all lies. When I hear them, it just feels like an imposter syndrome, to be honest.
No. It's okay. Okay, let's start with direct questions in the podcast series, like part of Ravi reads other journey. I think it was eighth episode. Okay, not a marketer book challenges traditional marketing though. What inspired you to write this book that defines a typical format of marketing literature?
I think, see, the fact is that I found a big gap in the way in which marketing books are written. They're written by people who don't understand how reality actually is. So the issue was that whenever I was reading a marketing book, it was talking theoretical stuff or stuff which existed in the past, but it was not reflecting the way in which customers are today or media is today, or the way in which even strategy should be played out by corporations today. And they were not really looking at what is successful in the area of marketing. So if I have to take an analogy, it was like doctors 100 years ago or 200 years ago, they were doing bloodletting. So and we used to think, oh, they're doctors, right? That is how most marketers are thinking. They're doing bloodletting when marketing should be very different.
No, in fact, how did you select the topics, thought-provoking notes in this book? And also, were there any personal experience that shaped to get implementation into these ideas kind of thing?
Yeah, so for that, you'll need to know that I'm from the first batch of MICA. So that is 94 to 96, right? So that's how old I am. So obviously, all of these experiences have come from across the length and breadth of my life. And my life has been an interesting one because half of it was spent as a professor of practice, but half of it was spent as an entrepreneur and even working in industry. So
That's
I've
very rare opportunity. Like,
so I've literally seen it from various angles, and
yeah,
I've seen where academics have a problem. I've seen where practitioners have a problem, and I've seen how marketing has evolved over the last 25 to 30 years. And I just think that it's very critical for me to kind of share my thoughts and whatever I've learned and observations. So all these notes are coming across my life. They're not just like thoughts that come because you're having a drink or something.
yes, it is that with that sense. And also the book, you also mentioned the concepts like customer that advertise, platforms rejecting advertisers. Can you share a real life example you have seen in the idea in action?
Sure. So if you look at how difficult it is to get traction as an advertiser on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or wherever else.
As a marketer, I know the pains.
Yeah, you know the pains, right? So the reason why it's painful is because platforms are in the business of catering to their audiences, and they're not in the business of catering because they know as long as they've got audiences, advertisers are going to pay attention to them. So they're always going to deregulate the amount of emphasis they're giving on advertisers, and it will impact advertisers who are stuck to the traditional ways of doing advertising and marketing. So that's one thing. And the second example would be how when customers advertise, I think all of us are. See, when we are looking at all personal brands that we are building, either on LinkedIn or on, so any other social media, what are we doing? We are advertising, right? So essentially, those are two examples that we can take.
Okay, what's in a view like the biggest mind shift for marketers need to make today?
I think I did allude to it earlier, which is
Yeah.
the marketers have got a playbook which comes from the Kotler Baba age, or the David Ogilvy age and all of that. And nothing against those people, but they belong to a different era. And I think that the playbook that is there, which talks about how to create a campaign and how to create a brand and how to do all of these things, comes from a place which is not real anymore. So the first thing that we have to do is change the mindset of using a playbook which is completely outdated and understand what to do now.
Yeah, I agree. You must have interacted with practitioners, well, as you mentioned, academics and skeptics. I know which of these group has influenced your marketing philosophy the most and why. Like, is there any?
I don't think I've been influenced by academics or practitioners in marketing. I think I have been influenced most by skeptics. The reason because skeptics, like, imagine you're talking to a CFO or you're talking to somebody who's outside marketing. What will they say? The marketing guys, they are just storytellers. They will do all nonsense. They will not go for, and they won't really, they're not worth it. And the whole thing is, I started asking, why do these people think this way about marketing? And then I realized that there is some truth to it. The reason why they are in the organization and they hold the power, these skeptics, over marketers, is because clearly there is something that marketers are missing out on.
Yeah.
Right. And so therefore I had to figure out, okay, is there some value in marketing? Is there some value in marketing which the skeptics can see? So I would recommend every skeptic to read my book, because they would understand what marketing actually is.
Yes, yes. How marketers apply the lessons from your book today, fast changing the digital era.
Yeah. So how do you mean? Can you explain a little more what your question is?
Do we have any roadmaps or templates or work plans to implement kind of thing, or it's like more
How do people implement ideas in the book?
yes.
That I think the critical aspect about looking at this is as one of inspiration and of approach. So I would say that marketers are going to be always beset with some problem or some opportunity every day of their lives. And what they need is to change the way in which they are thinking about the problem or opportunity that confronts them. I think the book that I've got allows them to think differently. So any page that they pick up and read, it should stimulate them, it should inspire them into thinking differently and find their own solutions based upon that different mindset.
Writing a book such diverse into a no small feat. What was the most challenging part the writing process for you? As academicians, like it might be very habituated for me, but for writing
See,
a
this is
book.
my yeah. So this is not my first book. And the way in which I was writing it was not actually a stressful experience for me at all. Right? I write every day. I write on Substack.
Yes, yes, it's part of
I
your daily.
create. It's part of things. What I had to do was go for a nice long walk, okay, and capture my thoughts. And what I did was I captured all of my thoughts as the titles of each note, right? So I did that first over, let's say, 10 to 15 days. I just captured, okay, so this is what I have to say, and then I expanded on each one of those to make sense to the reader. But it was a very enjoyable process.
Like throughout this, process or path, have you faced any, roadblocks or flow, missing part of things? And did you face any, difficulties? No.
No, 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 not at all. It just flowed like hell.
How do you balance, personal anecdotes, professional observations, and learning from others to create such a rich narrative? Like, is there any
No, no.
tips? Yeah.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think that the way in which you do one thing is the way in which you do everything. So if you're going to decide to lead a rich life, then your personal life is going to be rich, your professional life is going to be rich, and the way in which you write is going to be rich. So the balancing, there is no balance when you are integrated as a person, as an author, you're integrated as a human being and as a professional. So it just flows. So writing is just another thing that I do as a human being.
If you were to write a sequel to this book, or like, what themes or ideas would you love explore next?
So this is my second book in this series. The first one is called Not a Self-Help Book, because I thought the whole genre of self-help was pretty irritating to me, right? So I wrote Not a Self-Help Book. It's an ebook. It hasn't been published as an actual book yet.
No.
But it's how I started. Then I said, okay, now let me write about not a marketing book based upon my discipline. The next one which I want to write is on strategy. So I want to write not a strategy book, and that will be my book on strategy, because I think the whole world of strategy is highly cliched, and people are just using absolute nonsense and bullshit as strategy. So if I
Yeah.
can write something on strategy as the next book, that will be something I look forward to.
In fact, the hook you found is like very, it's kind of, vanilla ice cream for everything. Definitely, that's a great thought. Your book is for both novices and seasonal marketers, right? Like, what's the one piece of advice would you give to someone who are just starting their marketing career or journey?
Yeah, no, the biggest piece of advice that I would give them is to not be a marketer. The advice would be, if you want to be in marketing, learn how to be a customer, learn how to be a pretender of other professions, learn what a air force pilot does, learn what a junkie on the road does, learn what a loafer does, learn what an IAS officer does. The moment you step into the skins of other people is when you become a great marketer.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. In marketing, there is no right or wrong.
Yeah.
What's your take on the role of creativity versus data in the modern marketing strategies and this era?
I think the more data we have, the more creative we can get. So I think that because data allows us to have nuances. What is data eventually telling us? Insights about the customer in a way that we didn't understand before. So it allows us to understand more and more about the people that we are addressing and the way in which we should be addressing them and stuff like that. So I think there is no either or. It's not data or creativity. I think more data, thick data, leads to more creativity.
Now, how can marketers stay curious and keep innovating in the world dominated by, a lot of trends and templates?
No, I think that's the beauty of it, right? I feel that if everybody, if the whole world is creating a template, if you are able to not do a template, you're going to stand out. You're going to stand out because you're not creating a template. It is
Hmm.
very easy to create templates, but it is not going to be effective. And that's why I keep teasing my students. In fact, it is there as part of my book. Like, if everybody is wearing a pair of ripped jeans, then nobody is a rebel. Then nobody is a rebel. You're all conformists.
How do you stay inspired and inspire and keep your marketing ideas fresh, super fresh?
I'm blessed with a very curious mind, and I'm blessed with an ability to look at things differently. Sherlock Holmes says, "You see, but you do not observe." Right? And I love to observe things. I love to observe things deeply. So I don't run like an automaton. Most of the times I'm living fully. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not giving you any rehearsed answers even right now. I'm just talking to you because you're asking me these questions, right? So the key is to live very mindfully.
Who are the authors or thinkers, who has influenced you the most?
Not a single marketing person has influenced me. I would say that people who have genuinely made me think are the ones who have gone to behavioral biology. Like a guy called Robert Sapolsky has made me think. A guy called Donald Hoffman has made me think. Now, these are not marketers. These are people who have gone into fundamental disciplines of either behavioral biology or evolutionary biology, or or sociology or anthropology, or even some aspects of physics. So if you go to fundamentals, then because marketing is an applied discipline, so I've always tried to learn from the fundamentalists rather than the applied people.
It's a great insights. If you could leave, your readers with just one takeaway from your book, what would it be?
One takeaway: market yourself before you market anybody else or anything else. Market yourself before you market anything else.
Was very really interesting questions and thoughts I found from you. Maybe let's close our podcast with very few rapid questions, maybe
Okay.
5 or 7. What is your favorite marketing campaign of all of your time, like your throughout the journey?
My favorite marketing campaign is the Marmite Gene Project. Now, this is a really interesting project. This is not something that perhaps you might see in India, but it's a very, very interesting commercial, and it talks about how you either love Marmite or hate Marmite. And it is a very funny commercial. It is something that is engaging, and it's something that creates curiosity and increases trial. I thought it was a winner across all.
If you are not a professor or marketer, what would you be?
If I was not a professor or a marketer, I'd be a writer.
Uh,
Which I am already.
yeah.
So
What's your go-to productivity hack?
my go-to productivity hack is the Wim Hof method. So what I do is when I wake up in the morning, I do the Wim Hof breathing method, which allows me to just reset my chemical balance completely, and just energizes me. And then I start my day.
Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn? What's your favorite platform?
So I've got 10.4K followers on Instagram. I've got about 18K followers on LinkedIn. And I've got a YouTube channel, and I have a podcast called Smarter with Sid, which has got over 1 million downloads. So the fact is that I don't mind. I don't care. I think you have to be contextually very clear about which platform you're talking to, and you can expose that facet of your personality.
Hmm. Yeah. The most underrated skill in marketing?
Oh, the most underrated skill in marketing. I think it's writing.
One of the best describes your teaching style. One word about your teaching style.
Socratic.
Uh, A place you would love to travel next.
Oh, okay. I want to travel to South Africa and see Cape Town.
Okay. Who inspire you the most in your field?
In my field. So
Yeah.
now it depends upon what my field is. So if you say professor,
Yes.
or are you talking
Yeah.
of teach? Okay. So I think there are many amazing teachers and professors. I mentioned Robert Sapolsky's name, and he's amazing as a teacher. So I would go with Robert Sapolsky. He's an evolutionary biologist.
What's one quote or mantra you live by?
What's one quote or mantra?
You live by. Like, what's your one thought?
Oh, okay. For that, you have to read my ebook called Not a Self-Help Book. but the fact is that I live by one thing. Whichever path you choose, the effort is the same.
Creativity or data? Again, we are repeating the same. What
Yes.
wins?
I think when there is more data, there's more creativity, so everybody wins.
It was really nice to speaking with you, Siddharth. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us, like, very valuable insights, and your unique perspectives on marketing and storytelling has been always inspiring. I'm
Thank
sure our audience also enjoyed a lot from the conversation. Definitely, it's a really pleasure having you in my show. Definitely, we look forward to exploring more of your work in the future. Wishing you continued success in your journey as
Thank you.
traveling professor. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.